One day, Robert looked at me and he said, "How could you possibly think that was my intention? How could you possibly think that me, the person that loves you more than anyone in this world, my intention was to hurt you?" You know, Robert and I were both married before we had our relationship. And in my previous marriage, I always was finding myself on the defense. You know what I mean? You know, like you're looking for, how is this person trying to mess with me? And I carried that into our marriage. And I know you guys think we're absolutely perfect, but I have to tell you, every once in a while, we do fight. I always win. One day, Robert looked at me and he said, "How could you possibly think that was my intention? How could you possibly think that me, the person that loves you more than anyone in this world, my intention was to hurt you?" And we both actually took on something that day where we always assume good intent. We always assume good intent.
It's a promise we make to each other.
When you are walking around in the world and something happens, you are going to have a decision to make in that moment. Are you going to assume that that was purposeful to hurt you, or was it an accident? Were they looking at something else? Like there's so many other ways to look at everything, but there's so much negativity right now, and there's so much assumption happening. You know, I know you guys think that we don't hear what's going on. We hear all of it, trust me. But if every person in this room would take on, and this would go with your clients too, with the other agent on the other end. I mean, how many of you guys do you feel like there's almost this like constant fight with the agent that you're dealing with, right? Instead of, when you're always assuming good intent, looking at it from their side of view. If you take this on in your entire life, your life will change, because you're looking for the good constantly. You know, it's why we say do gratitude. You just take on this one thing, it's going to change everything.
You know, Cambria introduced me to Mexico, right? It was a vacation that she had done before, and so she said, "Oh, we gotta go to Riviera Maya. You're gonna love it, right?" And then I had the conditioning of our culture about Mexico, and it's a third world country, right? All of those things, okay? Our first but I went because she was so excited about it. But I was, weary, right? Well, how much is this taxi ride gonna cost, right? Like that kind of thing, right? I was weary. My enjoyment level on those first couple of trips was like a 5 out of 10. Then I all of a sudden realized on our third trip to Mexico, I realized I've never really had a bad experience. Like, what is with my attitude? Like, I've actually had, I got sick once, and I was so terrified of going to the hospital. It's one of the best medical care experiences I've had in my life. I've now had a couple or 3 experiences of medical care. Hands down, best experience of my life. Something shifted in me where I went, you know what? I'm bringing an attitude of like distrust and caution and how am I going to get ripped off into my vacation, and I'm ruining my enjoyment. This was about 5 or 6 years ago, and I shifted my mindset and went, you know what? I've never had a bad experience. Like, what am I doing going into this? Like, oh my God, it's gross. I'm so conditioned to, it's a third world country. They're going to try and rip you off, this and that and the other. When I changed my mindset, we have now some of the most beautiful relationships. Some of you guys have experienced it because you've been to some of the resorts with us. We walk into many of the resorts and we're treated like royalty, right? We're embraced like family. No. Oh, Mr. Henry, no. Come sit here, right? And it was just such a subtle shift. It's very similar to what Cambria is talking about in terms of assume positive intent. I mean, I can share with you stories after stories after stories of the quality of my experience double and tripled. Were they any different? They were the same people showing up on a day-to-day basis as had been before. The only thing that shifted was right here and right here. I decided I'm going to stop bringing distrust into my interactions and into my relationships.
All right,
Changed
Mr.
my world.